Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hard8times, and I am the truth of YouTube, and I am your favorite commentator's favorite commentator. Now, we're gonna talk about these remasters on this video, man. And regardless of how you feel about remasters, remasters are here to serve a purpose. They do serve a purpose. Now, first, let's talk about a remaster, because some people seem to confuse remaster with remake. They are two different things, people. Now, a remake is, let's use the example of Resident Evil 0. Remember when that game came out on the GameCube? That was a remake of the original PS1 version. What made it a remake is because the game was rebuilt. It was torn down and rebuilt with all new everything. Everything was new, everything was different. It was remade. All of the textures, the lighting, everything was remade. That is what you call a remake. Now you have a remaster. A remaster is basically just the same game, you know what I mean? Not too much done with it, and a bump in resolution and a bump in frames per second. That's what you call a remaster. Now you do have remasters that are done well, and then you do have lazy ass remasters like God of War 3. Oh my God. Thank you, Redbox. I'm so glad I did not buy God of War 3 at that $40 price tag. Oh, I would have been pissed. Because that remake, that remaster is a fucking joke, and it was very lazy. Very lazy. I mean, it's a joke. Now, yes, it runs at 60 frames per second. Yes, it's at 1080p, but that's about all they fucking did. You know what I mean? Now, they could have made it a lot better. They could have actually touched up the textures and redid the cutscenes and all of that, but they didn't. You know what I mean? I'm quite sure it took one motherfucking person to do that remaster. That shit funny to me. I'm glad I got that from Redbox. Man, I would have been pissed. Now, if you never played God of War 3, then yes, it's worth it at $40 because the game is amazing. But if you're like me that already played it about 9,900 times on the PS3, owned it about 3 or 4 different times on the PS3, and then you bought it again on the PS4, I know you feel like you got egg on your face. What a waste of money if you already beat and owned that game before. Wow. Anyway, I'm getting off track. God of War 3 is a lazy remaster. You know what I mean? They could have did a lot better with that remaster. Now, of course, I wasn't expecting it to be a different game. It's the same fucking game. We already know it's God of War 3. But the effort in the remaster could have been a little bit more profound. You dig? The effort could have been better. But a lot of people are complaining about remasters, right? I mean, look at the prototype remaster. Oh my God, it's terrible. Digital Foundry just put up a video of it running on the Xbox One, and it's struggling to do 30 frames per second. Why is it 30 frames per second? Now, this is what you call a lazy ass remaster. I mean, even more lazy than the God of War 3. This is a terrible remaster, that prototype shit, and you should not support that. That's the developer really trying to rip people off. It looks terrible. It looks terrible, and it's not the Xbox One fault that game runs the way it runs and it looks the way it looks. It is not the Xbox One fault. It's the developers. They did a terrible job. And who the fuck asked for that remaster? Who? Who? Like Darksiders. Who asked for that shit? Nobody. Now, I don't have a problem with a remaster when it's done right. I'd rather a remaster than having backwards compatibility. Because when a remaster is done right, it's actually good. I'd rather play it in its new form than playing it in its old form. You understand what I'm saying? But here's why remasters are here, people. And they are here to stay. Okay? Now, we all bought these next-gen consoles. We all looking for the next-generation experience, the next-gen AAA experience. We all are looking for this. We want the great graphics, the great gameplay, the great performance. We want all of that. Well, nowadays, people, that shit takes time. Okay? Years. These games now take years to make with this new technology and really trying to push the envelope. So, what do you do while these AAA games are in development? What do you do? What do you play? You need games to fill the gap. And this is why remasters are being made. You know, they are also made to make extra money, but you have to fill in these gaps in between these big budget games. This is why indies are at the forefront nowadays, because they are filling in the gap in between these big budget games. And these big budget games need time. What happened when they are rushed? Well, we already know what happens when they're rushed. They're released broken. They're released as an early access product, and then they get fixed along the way. You understand what I'm saying? So these remasters in these indie games, they serve a purpose to fill in the gaps. Now, like I said, when a remaster is done correctly, cool. Now, Last of Us was a remaster that they didn't put a lot of work into. But being though that Last of Us was only 30 frames per second and then jumping up to that lock 60, that made a huge difference. Now, for you people that don't see the difference between 30 and 60, then you probably don't see it. But for others, for the normal people, that shit made a huge difference. And go back and play Last of Us on PS3 right now and then go play it on PS4. Oh, boy. You did? Oh, fucking boy. Now, people are like, why didn't they remaster God of War 1? Why didn't they remaster God of War 2? Well, it's quite simple, people. God of War 1 and God of War 2 cannot be remastered. People say things like, man, you know, remasters are cool, but I would love for them to remaster games from the PS1 era or the PS2 era and things like that. Well, people, you can't remaster those games because a remaster is basically just a resolution bump, a frames bump, and that's pretty much it. I mean, they can go in and do a lot more, touch up the existing textures and things like that, but at the end of the day, can you imagine God of War 1 just having a resolution bump and then released on the PS4? It would look terrible. It would look terrible. Can you imagine Siphon Filter from the PS1 getting a remastered version and then released on the PS4? It would look terrible. Those games need to be remade to look decent on the PS4. They can't be remastered. They are far past that time. This is why God of War 3 was the only game that was remastered, because Sony wanted to put out something that would take a little bit of money and that can actually be pulled off as a remastered and not have to be remade. Because if they brought you God of War 1 and 2, it would look disgusting. Have you seen the God of War 1 and 2 textures? Nowadays, it looks terrible. You can't remaster that. That needs to be remade. They need to tear it down and rebuild it with all new textures and 1080p and all of that shit in mind. You know what I'm saying? Those games can't be remastered. PS1 era, PS2 era, those games that you want to come to the PS4, they need to be remade. They can't be remastered. And a remake costs a lot of money. And it takes a lot of time. Now, in order to do a remake, you're going to need a full team. You understand what I'm saying? You're going to need a full team to tear a game down and rebuild it from the ground up. You're going to need a full team. That's full development, people. You understand what I'm saying? That's full development, and that's full development money. And they ain't trying to spend that type of money. They just want something real easy. Hey, go in there. Yeah, go in there. Yeah, the back room. Go in the back room. Get that God of War 3. Bump the resolution up and lock it to 60 frames per second, okay? You know, if you want to do something with the lighting, you can do a little bit with that. You want to add a particle or two? Go ahead. But yeah, go ahead in the back. Have that done to me. What's the day? Okay, the day Monday. I want that by Friday on my desk, okay? Yeah, we're going to mass produce that, send it out, sell it. Cha-ching, cha-ching! Yeah, oh, but sir, what about God of War 1 and 2? God of War 1 and 2, are you kidding me? Those games will have to be remade. We don't have that type of money. Now get in that goddamn back room and do what I told you, okay? Cha-ching, cha-ching. That's probably how the meeting went. But anyway, you get my point. You get my point. Games from the PS1 era, the PS2 era, those games cannot be remastered. They need to be remade to actually look like something on the PS4 and to actually make people want to buy them. You understand what I'm saying? And this is why they went with God of War 3, because first of all, it was critically acclaimed, and second of all, it's the easiest to remaster. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they could have did Ascension, but Ascension wasn't that well received, and that's the prequel. God of War 3 was like the big one. Most people consider that to be the best in the series. So it was easier just to bump up the resolution, do a little few minor other things, and release it. Couldn't do that with the other games, and that's why God of War 3 was the only one that was remastered. So remasters are here, and they are here to stay. We just need you people not to support the dog shit remasters like Prototype. Now that remaster is, oh my God, I can't believe they even calling that a remaster. I can't believe it. And if you buy that game the way it is, oh my God, if you, boy, don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here, people. And that's my lesson on remasters. I hope it was a good lesson. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. But they're here to fill in the gaps because these new AAA games, they take years to make. I mean, look at Rockstar. They take their time. Look how long it takes for a new Grand Theft Auto to come out. You understand what I'm saying? And only about 2 Grand Theft Autos come out a decade. You dig? They take their time. Grand Theft Auto with GTA 5 took how long? It came out in 08. And yeah. You see what I'm saying? Years. 5 fucking years. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, man. This your boy Hard8. If you enjoyed the video, excuse me, you know what to do. If you didn't enjoy the video, of course, you know what to do. But if you think others should see this video, go ahead and share it. You think your friends should see this? Share it. I'm out, man. It's your boy Hard8. Deuces.
New shoes on the Range Rover, good